We've been through these transitions before, but what I would also say is that the world today is more technology intensive than it's ever been and continues to become more technology intensive. And so I believe that the best days are ahead. As the world becomes more technology intensive, firms like ours are needed by our clients to help make sense of all this technology, integrate it, and deliver business results for our clients.
So, you know, when you say technology intensive, there's obviously something that you're doing right, which the others are not, because it's paying off for you, it's giving you an edge. How have you been preparing for this phase?
In an uncertain world, I think the core skill of a company and of individuals is the ability to sense and then respond quickly. And I think that that's what we do very well at Cognizant. Because we are so intimate with our clients, because we serve a small number of clients and we serve them very deeply, it gives us this inherent ability in the company to sense clients' needs and then respond very quickly, make the changes, make the investments, skill the people in the right way. And I think that's what allows us to stay relevant and to stay ahead of the changing needs.
As the CEO, how big a distraction is an activist shareholder?
You know, I think I can only speak to our engagement with Elliott. It was for a relatively short period of time. As you know, they published their letter in late November.
That's right.
We announced our agreement with them in mid-February, so a relatively short period of time. You know, I would say to you that our dialogue with Elliott was thoughtful and constructive, and so far from it being a distraction, I actually viewed it as a productive conversation with the shareholder, and we used it as an opportunity to then go out and talk to a broad range of shareholders to make sure that what we were contemplating was largely in line with the goals and objectives of a broad range of shareholders.
I know you wouldn't want to perhaps comment directly on a competitor, but we saw a similar situation of kinds in Infosys. It did get to a collision stage. The CEO had to quit. So I'm just asking, was it easy for you to manage an activist shareholder vis-a-vis if you were in India?
I can't, you know, I can't contrast to another situation simply because I haven't been involved. What I would say is that, you know, when Elliott first published their letter, as you said, much of what they had outlined in their letter was consistent with the thinking,
goals as well.
Our goals as well, and with our thinking. And so the result of that was a good, thoughtful dialogue. You know, our relationship with Elliott was not contentious. It was a good, thoughtful dialogue. We put our point of view forward. They listened to our views, and we found a good common middle ground, which is what we agreed to in the settlement.
What happens when it's not aligned for a company like Infosys? And what sort of a role can the board play? Because, you know, people have said it is a distraction that the CEO can best avoid. Is it really avoidable?
You know, look, I think that, again, I can't speak to the situation in Infosys, and I won't. What I can tell you is that our board took the approach that our responsibility as a board is to all of our shareholders. And so we were absolutely committed to doing the things that we believed were the right things for all of our shareholders. Not for one section of the shareholders, not for a minority shareholder group, but for the entire set of shareholders.
But where do you see IT services heading? Because the criticism also is, and it's obviously not directed just at you, the criticism also is that the IT industry didn't see the writing on the wall, and which is why we've seen hiring slow down, we've seen voluntary layoffs and things like that.
Yeah, look, I think that there's no question that the IT industry is going through a period of disruption and transition. That is absolutely happening. But it is the case that the IT industry has managed through disruption and transition several times in the past. And many of the things that you see happening now have happened in past transitions as well. As the world becomes more technology intensive, I believe that demand for services is stronger and bigger and greater than it's ever been.
A lot of delivery is shifting out of India, global hiring is happening, but there seems to be a dichotomy here. While the IT services companies are shifting out, the captives are hiring a lot more in India. How will you explain this dichotomy and why is it happening?
I think there is a lot of global hiring happening. I don't think, though, that at the industry level, and certainly not at the Cognizant level, that it's going to change the overall workforce composition and the overall workforce balance around the world. I really don't think you're going to see that change meaningfully, certainly not at Cognizant. As digital becomes more prevalent, we're looking for skills like design talent and data science, and we'll hire those folks in other parts of the world, the US included. But that is not to say that we will not continue to hire in India. And so I think you'll see those things, sort of keep pace with each other. And I don't think the net effect is going to be a big shift, certainly not in Cognizant.
No, I'll tell you where that concern comes from. As the world becomes more inward-looking, as more protectionist, one of the narratives, at least in the IT industry, is that one of the solutions is let's hire on-site, let's hire people in the US. And, this is the narrative we're picking up from other IT companies. So the concern really is this going to come at the cost of jobs here in India? Because IT as an employer has been a big growth driver. And will that change, was really my question.
Yeah. I think that you have to balance a couple of things here. I think that the fact is that the talent pool, that there is a lack of talent, of STEM talent, science, technology, engineering and math talent in the US and in many parts of Europe. And so while we and I think our peers will continue to hire as best we can in these local geographies, we're going to have to continue to scale up in other parts of the world to supplement this talent. That is simply the reality. As the world becomes more technology intensive, there simply is not enough technology talent to be able to deploy all of this technology. And so I believe that while those two things are not inconsistent. We will continue to, we've always hired aggressively in the US, we'll continue to do that, but I think we'll supplement that with hiring in other parts of the world as well, and that's always been the model.
So you don't believe there is ground for concerns that were raised, because we did see some amount of layoffs happen in the Indian IT sector, and people began to question, is that going to change the social dynamic? Because, IT is a big employer, there are so many engineering graduates who come out of engineering colleges in India.
The industry is going through a transition, there's no question about that. If the companies in the industry make the necessary investments to stay relevant, I don't believe that you will see a net reduction in jobs in the industry. But there's a big caveat there. The companies in the industry have got to make the investments to stay relevant. If they're not relevant, others will take that work.
How is it to run an outsourcing company in Donald Trump's US? I mean, visas restrictions and policies set aside. Have things changed on the ground? Are clients or customers speaking a different language at all?
I think that we have always had with our clients, our clients have always been thoughtful about making sure that what we do together, Cognizant and our clients, is good for their business and good for American workers. That has always been the case. I think that dialogue is stronger today than it's been in the past. But I think that Cognizant, together with our clients, because these are conversations we have with our clients, we have come to a point where we are confident that what we are doing is good for the US economy, good for US workers, and good for our clients' businesses, because they need access to talent in order to be able to deploy technology and so on.
But are clients talking a lot more of being good for US workers, because that almost seemed to be the narrative when President Trump did come into office?
I don't think we're having conversations
like that
any more than we've always had in the past.